So, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I might seem a little bit sweaty because I've just been working out right now, just before, um, because I'm lacking a little bit of time again. Because you know these days when everything is quite on a one day, but it could be just on a few days, just a little bit, quite diversified, but everything is on one single day, and you quite seem to be like, just a little bit struggling with putting everything into one day, and therefore, without breath, I will just start the episode now, even though I do not know what I'm going to talk about today, um, because of the number. Just it seems to be a little silly, but I do quite want the number to be, you know, quite big. This is something that doesn't make any sense, but for me it seems like okay, I quite need it, and so therefore I will just go through things and try to find the most or the best book in the least time. And therefore I'm just wondering, it should be definitely be some kind of self-help, I guess, because more often these are just the books that they can really be good, actually. Um, I want to let you see with me because this might be a little bit more interesting. It tends to be the actual thing is that most of the time the really old books and books written 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and even longer, they tend to be first of all pretty accurate and pretty quite adaptable into nowadays life, and second of all they tend to be pretty good as well and pretty just pretty good. Do you know David Goggins? He's an incredible person, and if you are interested in him, I guess no, I haven't mentioned him in the episode, but Can't Hurt Me by Goggins. Maybe you look for an autobiography or biography. Just put it in the title, search for it. Maybe you just come across the episode where I've been talking about his book. Actually, I am okay, you're okay seems to be pretty good as well, so I'm just now thinking if I should go through it or not. Placebo is definitely something that is very interesting for me, but I'm just looking for something that might be a little bit suitable for what I'm looking for, actually, so that I can some kind of grow and learn something, which is definitely something I should be looking for a little bit more, because I tend to just read the same books or kind of the same content over and over and over again, which is definitely nothing that you should be doing. Should it be health or wealth? Never mind. Maybe I just stick around a little with this kind of slide and with these pages. The Art of War should actually be something that I want to go through as well, because I think there is something in it, even though it may be a little bit difficult for me to digest in terms of the actual language being a little old. And let's close something down because it seems to be quite loud in here, which is something I should definitely avoid, so that the whole audio is good. I'm now thinking, the problem is there are so many great authors, and most of the time I feel like, okay, they have great books, obviously, but on the other hand, there are just a lot of great books from just really unknown authors, which are, pretty good, as I said, but you don't know them, and so therefore you just rather go for someone you know, actually, without actually kind of looking for the content itself, maybe. But yeah. Relentless. The Millionaire Fast Lane, The Happiness Advantage is definitely, not definitely, but actually a book that I've been discussing about before, but on the samuelthomasdavis.com website, and therefore I'm just kind of pondering if I should actually go through it once again or not, because on every book summary site there you will get another summary as it is, and that's that's pretty good at one hand and pretty bad on the other hand. Principles by Ray Dalio. I quite feel like reading something from Ray Dalio because you know him. This is the fact actually. But yeah, maybe we'll see. How much time have I wasted of yours? 5 minutes. Okay, I do faster. Communication is fucking important, and also because I see how to win friends and influence people there. It might be suitable for what I'm searching for now, but I don't know. Maybe. The thing is, I'm quite searching for something like marketing wise or something like that. So this definitely is. People skills. think I have been going through this one, even though I haven't been going through this one some kinda. For women, relationship, no. Best personal finances. This is definitely a category I always look for, but I never just, I'm pretty amazed by what I get. Best psychology book. Yeah, psychology is definitely something that is very, very interesting, and especially also something that I can learn a lot from because I do not have that much knowledge in it yet. As I see the 48 laws of power, which is, and I pretty much know it as it was yesterday. It was actually the first book I quite denied to go through because it seemed for me like, it's not something I stand for. It's not something I would support or would suggest to someone else who might be in a position like, he wants to know more or, whatever. But the thing is, I just didn't want to go through it. The Prince, actually something... why does... I think I definitely go with a psychology book. I'm okay, you're okay. The social animal. The moral animal. I'll go through I'm okay, you're okay. Because I think I haven't been going through this one. I hope I can. I am fucking fucked if this is not working right now. I don't know what I should do. Okay. Thanks God. It is working. So, I'm okay and you're okay simplifies transactional analysis for the general public. It also explains how to apply PAC, which is PAC, I think it's just a kind of acronym for something else, to our daily transactions, how to self-analyze ourselves and how to learn to become more discerning, rational and empowered human beings. I find it a must-read, life-changing book. So definitely, if the author of this just summary says it, it definitely has to be something good. It was the same thing with Sam Walton and the Walmart kind of. It was not a biography, but it was some kind of biography. It was something in between like a biography and something kind of just a storytelling thing. But I think this is definitely a good book. It's from Thomas Harris, and it was published in August 23 or 23rd, 2011, and has 320 pages. So if you're, and he has actually MD, what is it, MD, or is it his name? I don't know. But yeah, so the bullet summary. We all are born with a default not okay, which hopefully will be explained later on in the book. But we have the power to change our not okay status, which is definitely true because at my point of view, you can just change everything in your life. Quite. So at least on how you think about it. That's definitely it. Which is just a little bit portion of what life is. We just have a lot of thoughts and we have a lot of opinions. And if you change your thoughts and opinions, you will change how you look, how the world looks for you. So therefore, learning our inner child and parent is how we strengthen our our mind, and how we get rid of games and improve our relationships. Because I just read how we get rid of games, it just really reminds me of something that Gary Vee was talking about, which is definitely something I want to emphasize as well. So if anybody out here is just listening to it, I hope that you kind of understand it or kind of get my point. So I think, and this is also what Gary Vee is saying, as I said before, a lot of people just play a lot of video games. A lot of people just, watch a whole lot of Netflix series and, all these kind of things that, a lot of people would say that they're time wasting. I would first of all say that if people need it, they should do it. It's another thing, that hands or goes into the hand of self-awareness. If you just know you need this certain stuff, it is okay for me. So for me, the most important part is that people are happy. And this is really important for me. But the thing is, often people just use it to, to really waste time consciously. Or on the other hand, sorry, I do have to cover up myself, that I'm not looking at myself all the fucking time. But I just now hear that everything is cranking up a little bit. But never mind. So what I want to say is that if people really use it to consciously waste time and really get out of their real life, then it is definitely something you should be stopping. Because you could, use that time and work on something to really just make your life you want to have it like. If you're really into traveling but don't have any money, then just use the time you're wasting for not watching Netflix or playing video games to really get another job, or just, create a side hustle for yours to really maybe work while traveling, and or your travel is your work. So this is definitely something I kind of stand for and I want to emphasize a little bit more. But again, this is from Gary Vee, and so therefore, yeah. And in general, he's just a better motivator and he has more knowledge than I have. So if you're really, really willing to get more knowledge and really willing to get more, just motivation and real knowledge from people who are in the space right now, because I'm obviously not. I can talk about self-development, okay, but business-wise, I do not have anything to say because I do not have any experience. And this is it. And so therefore, I really invite you to go to Gary Vee, it's VEE, or Tony Robbins, or Tim Ferriss is also kind of great, or the Joe Rogan show is also great. Jocko Willink, who is the SEAL team leader, or was the SEAL team leader, is also a pretty great man in terms of actually getting to know new things and just learning more things. But yeah. But let's move on to the full summary. I do still want to see how many minutes I'm in. The full summary. I'm okay, you're okay is a genius text with a lot of deep insights. Consider the summary to be only a quick preview. Totally, and this is always the case with summaries, because this will never be as good or as impactful as the whole book itself. PAC stands for parent, adult, and child, which, yeah, okay. I now know it. And since action analysis postulate, there are three distinguishable models or modes within each of one of us that we use to process information and respond to the stimuli around. These are the parent, the adult, and the child. And I'm pretty much looking forward what all these things kind of mean. And I quite think about it like I have maybe been going through this one, but I haven't just really got it, first of all, because I just feel now that it will be pretty hard to do. What is it called? I used this fucking word today to understand it. So the parent. The parent is the collection of all that the child has recorded during his early years of life. All the rules, admonitions, and limitations go here. Harris say that since the children's lives depends on the parents, everything from them is recorded as true. If the parent sends discordant messages, the child might partially block out the parent, which is weakened or fragmented. If the parents were very intense in their rules, it might be harder for the adult to question and adopt those rules later in life. And this is actually just pretty much underlines something that I've been talking about a little bit before in an episode. It maybe was like the 16th or 17th episode, which is definitely something that quite shocked me as I kind of recognized it, which is that parents do have quite a lot of just responsibility for the child. and not only in terms of them not killing themselves, or in terms of looking after them, but also in terms of making them become a person who is good. And now it is pretty subjective. So for me, it might be a person that's, I don't know, self-aware, which is, I think, in general a good thing. So being self-aware, being just knowing what you want, and all these things are definitely some things that are the parents kind of mission to accomplish, so that the child really is like this, and so that they are not too many rules, or are not too just fragmented with the rules, so that not too like, okay, do it, I don't care. It is a pretty fucking big responsibility. But yeah, so I do want to read this again, because I feel like, okay, there was a lot behind it, but I haven't just been understanding it quite really. So Harry said that since the children's lives depends on the parents, I think the other way around, because it's about the parents' life and not the children's life. So since the parents' life depends on the children's one, everything from them is recorded as true, which means that everything you as a child learn is definitely true. Okay, so I just think that it meant like this. If the parent sends discordant messages, the child might partially block out the parent, which is weakened or fragmented. If the parents were very intense in their rules, it might be harder for the adult to question and adopt those rules later in life, which also makes sense, because if you're just so used to having rules and so on, it is definitely something pretty hard or pretty tough to change later on in life, which is definitely something that I see in my life, because I have always been told that failing and doing something wrong is something really, really shit, and really, really just wrong, and really kind of bad. And therefore I'm now not pretty able to really fail, because first of all, I hate failing, because I quite think like, I don't know, I hate not being good. And I also quite often, and until I just recognized it, until I just, pretty much changed my mind, I always thought, okay, yes, it is wrong. But the actual thing is, and a lot of people just meant it is wrong, but the actual thing is that learning or just failing is another way of learning. And a lot of people learn good by failing, or just because of doing it and then just failing or winning or whatever. But yeah, so at the end, it is just learning or learning. Whether you win or fail, it's always in terms of how you just, how your perspective is on all those things. The child, since the child has no words in his early years, most of his recollections are feelings. The child dependent on the mother is always looking for signs of approval or disapproval. Definitely. The child, he has no way to understand what causes approval or disapproval, which frustrates him and leads him to conclusion, I'm not okay, which is hardwired in our brains and cannot be cancelled. Same for the parents, adults can be transferred back to the child in grown-up transactions. The problem I'm having that I'm not quite understanding what they're talking, or what he's talking. But I do still hope that you're just getting what you're looking for, that you're just, understanding what he means. But yeah, I do focus now a little bit more that I read it properly, so that you have the chance to actually, if you're on a podcast, that you actually can hear it good or well or whatever. The adult grows as the child seeks answer for himself. He realizes there is different data from what is taught by the parent and what is felt by the child. I quote Thomas Harry here. The adult is different from the parent, which is the judgmental in an imitative way and seeks to enforce sets of borrowed standards and front the child, which tends to react more abruptly on the basis of pre-logical thinking and poorly differentiated or distorted perceptions. Okay, still don't know what everything is up to. Maybe I quite do, and maybe I'm going through it after the episode. So I'm not just, making the episode even longer as it is. So the parents taught and demonstrated life, which is definitely true, and therefore this is also another, emphasizing point that, parents do have a really big responsibility in terms of their children. the child felt, wished, or fantasized, the adult finds out. The adult has the power to examine the child to see whether or not the feelings are appropriate to the present, or if they don't serve him well anymore and are simply responses to archaic parent data. Thomas Harris says that a secure youngster is one who finds that most parent data is reliable. They told me the truth. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. So Thomas says that a secure youngster. I wonder what he means by secure in terms of he's not insecure. Oh well, I think he means it. Never mind. We go on with the 4 life positions. Transaction analysis says that there are 4 positions an individual can find himself in. I'm not okay and you are not okay. The default of all children. I am not okay and you are not okay if the mother. So I'm not okay and you are okay is the default of all children. Which makes sense now. Yeah, I understand why. Because if you're just a really, really just young children, you do not have any. You have feelings first of all, but you don't know what's appropriate and or approved, but you know what's not approved, as they just told us before, and therefore you are not okay, but you know all the others have to be okay because they just show you what's okay and what's not okay, or what's approved or not approved. They just show you, and you can only react with feelings, and that makes sense, of course. But I kind of feel like I have been going through this once. I do still want to go through it, nevertheless, or anyways, because I just want to kind of. I'm not okay and you are not okay if the mother is cold and non-stroking or aggressive and brutalizing. An adult locked in this position rejects stroking and emotional connection from everyone else in life. Sounds a lot like scaring children with low self-esteem. So if the mother is cold and non-stroking or aggressive or brutalizing. Okay, yeah, this also makes sense. So that, if you do have just a very, very bad experience with people in general, you might be like, okay, because I am a child, I am not okay, because of the other explanation I did before. And because I see that also my mother, which is, kind of primarily the first person you're interacting with, isn't okay as well, so that, everyone is not okay. Then the third one is, I am okay and you are not okay. Children of abusive parents, while recovering from wounds, can switch to any criminal stance where they see themselves as okay, but the parents and later the world are not okay. Okay, I kind of get it as well. And the fourth one is, I'm okay and you're okay. This is the only conscious position and decision we make. Okay. So I am not okay, you're okay is the default position for many and the default position of every child. So I am not okay and you're okay. Okay, I get it. If the child very early thinks I am not okay, he also concludes that his parent, the big provider of all his life, needs or must be okay. Or his life's needs, sorry. Once we feel that we are not okay in a world of okay people, that's when we play games, says the author. Games people play are a form of relief of the not okay position. Okay, I think I get it. Games in terms of really trying to understand or trying to make yourself okay, even though you think you're not okay, and therefore they play games. If they haven't told me just before, but I think they have. So I'm not okay, you're okay is a position which can be changed once it's understood. I'm not okay and you're okay. Okay. What was the? So I'm not okay and you're okay is the default of all children. Okay, I get it. So parents and child play games. The author says that one of the reasons why parents and child play games is because the outcome is predictable. There is a certain security in games, even the ones that harm us and our relationships. When the adult is in charge, the outcome is not always predictable. There is the possibility of failure or of success, but it's only the adult that gives us the opportunity of changing and developing. Thomas Harris says that all games have their origin in the childhood games of mine is better than yours. Back in our childhood years, as it is the same in our grown-up years, it brings a momentary relief from not okay position. I do have to read it again, I'm sorry. Or should I go on? No, I read again. So maybe you haven't heard it or you quite didn't understand it as well. So, yeah. I do just see that everyone is texting me. And because, which is the funny part about it, sorry for just texting right now. So never mind. I still don't get it fully, to be really honest here. So I do want to read it again. So the authors say that, but I still do have to just think about some kind of, okay. Or, yeah, it's definitely okay. It's okay. Okay, everything's okay. Sorry for wasting your time, and I will just turn off everything. And everything, what's the best thing about life is often? That when everything, you do have to put everything into one fucking day, but everything works out just perfectly. And this is so nice that I do have to just get my girlfriend from the train. I'm going to meet a friend of mine, which I haven't been seeing quite for a long time now, which is something I do wanted to do because he actually had his prom night and I weren't there, and therefore I just really wanted to meet him once so that I just see, okay, everything is okay, and want to talk to him a little bit. And yeah, but we will go ahead. So the authors say that one of the reasons why parent and child play games is because the outcome is predictable. Yeah, it makes sense, you either lose or you win. There's a certain security in games, even the ones that harm us and our relationship. When the adult is in charge, the outcome is not always predictable. Okay, this makes sense because, just the adult can say, okay, it's this way or it's that way. Makes sense. And there's the possibility of failure or of success, but it's only the adult that gives us the opportunity of changing and developing. I get it. Thomas Harris says that all games have their origin in the childhood games of mine is better than yours, which is, if you think about it, with every board game, quite if they just also kind of rely on board games. I do not know if it's just such games or if it's games like, personal connection like games. I don't know. But yeah. Okay, I think, yeah. So The Parent and Child. This is a pretty interesting book. And I do think this is, there's something behind it. And, you always have to be, and I just will point it out every single time, that you still do have to be some kind of skeptical about what you're reading. It's always important because you never can be sure if this is actually true or not if you're not thinking about it. So if you just read it and be like, okay, this is totally true, might not be the best idea because, you still just, think a little bit about it and then you can just evaluate whether this could be true or not. But yeah, Thomas Harris goes on to explain what are the cues of parents and children. The parents look judgmental and the child looks at the parents' mercy. He says, when we blame and find fault, we replay the early blaming and fault finding which is recorded in the parent. And this makes us feel okay. Okay, because the parent is okay, and we are coming on parent. Finding someone to agree with you and play the game produces a feeling, well, omnipotent. Is it not omnipotent or not omnipotent? Whatever. So when we blame and find fault, okay, we reply the early blaming and fault finding, which is recorded in the parent, and this makes us feel okay because the parent is okay and we are becoming on parent. Okay, this also makes sense. Finding someone to agree with you and play the game produces a feeling, well, of omnipotent. I don't know what omnipotent is. I could think about it. I think, I could know it. But the fastest way is to omnipotent. Potent. Yeah, this also makes sense. Okay. Complementary transactions and crosses. Thomas Harris explains that when transactions happen between the same modality, so parent to parent or child to child, they can go on is it infinitely or indefinitely? Indefinitely. Oh, I can't do anything. So I think they can go on infinitely. So I just assume that this is. A complementary or cross transaction can cause troubles and communication stops. Here's a classical example from Eric Byrne. Husband, dear, where are my cufflinks? I do think I've actually been going through this one because I know this example. But I feel like, okay, I started it once again. It is a good opportunity, first of all, because I didn't know that I was going through it, and therefore maybe I do have now a little bit more knowledge or more, competence in just, reading a text or knowing a text or understanding a text. But yeah, so dear, where are my cufflinks? This is an adult stimulus, and he seeks information. If the wife answered as an adult, she would reply, in your wardrobe, I think. But if she had a rough day, she might reply in anger. Where you left them? Okay, that's a parent reply. So either you reply as an adult or a parent. Okay, yeah. If she had replied, "Why do you always have to yell at me?" That would have been a child response. Okay, I still know that I have been wondering what this whole just thing means and how I could just some kind of translate it into how I can use it, or how I can just definitely use it for me and for my life. And so that would have been a child response. Okay, a person who is dominant by the not okay child. By the not okay, child tends to read all the stimuli as attacks and as a reflection of his low value. Okay, because this makes sense. Because if you just think like, okay, I'm not okay, I do not have any value, I am unnecessary for everything, then okay, you just see everything as an attack because you're still low self-esteem is just attacked on and just jumped on and whatever, and this would make sense. The not okay position is not to be found solely on the responses, of course. It can also hide in the opening message. For example, where did you hide my cufflinks? The overall communication sounds adult, but secondary communication here is the word hide, which comes from the parent. Okay, it's definitely pretty hard to understand if you didn't get the parent and child and whatever situation. I hope you get something out of it. This is always the most important part about it. I do care if I understand it or not, but it's not that important because I can still just go through it 100 times. And you could as well, for sure. And I could maybe just explain it a little bit better if if I just assume you didn't get it. And I would just, I would be just way, way better at explaining it if I got it, which I haven't. So therefore, I'm just trying to read it as good as I can so that you can actually understand it better. But I still I think I want to go up to the parent, child, and adult thing. So, transaction analysis postulate there are three distinguished models or modes within each of one. I don't need this. So the parent is the collection of all the data the child has recorded during his early years of life. All rules, admonitions, and limitations go here. Okay. Harris say that since the children's life depends on the parents, everything from them is recorded as true. If the parent sends discordant messages, the child might partially block out the parent, which is weakened or fragmented. If the parent were very intense in the rules, it might be harder for the adult to question and adopt those rules later in life. Makes sense. Since the child has no words in his early years, most of his recollections are feelings. The child depends on the mother, is always looking for signs of approval or disapproval. The child has no way to understand what causes approval or disapproval, which frustrates him and leads him to the conclusion, I'm not okay, which is hardwiring in our brains and cannot be cancelled. Some of the parents' adults can be transferred back to the child in grown-up transactions. So same for the parents and adults can be transferred back to the child in grown-up transactions. Okay. And the adult grows as the child seeks answer for himself. He realizes there is different data from what is taught by the parent and what is felt by the child. So this is just, being rational and just thinking for yourself and being like, using your own brain rather than pretty much relying on what your parents were telling you or, yeah. So, I think strengthening our adult and overcoming inner child and parent. So therefore, because I've been going through this once more, I do just know right now that being a child is bad and being a parent as well is bad. And the best thing seems to be is an adult, I think, I hope. So when we have no idea about our inner adult, can you actually see me? Yeah, you can actually see me. Let's make it like this. First of all, this. Second of all, have a look at this. And third of all, go ahead. So when we have no idea about our inner adult, child, and parent, the result is a contaminated adult. What the fuck? And we often resort to substandard behavior that does nothing good for us and for the people around. Substandard. What's substandard? I don't know what substandard means. Substandard. Thanks, motherfucker, for actually... Never mind. Okay. I'm such a motherfucker, these are all words I could actually, know if I just, would break it up or just look for it and see, okay, this could mean this or that. But yeah, we often resort to substandard behavior that does nothing good for us. Totally. If you just feel like, you're substandard all the time and you feel like, yeah, okay, the worst of everything you're doing is bad and whatever, definitely you're feeling bad, no matter. There are a few ways with which we can strengthen our adult. First of all, learn to read the signals. When our parent or child has been hooked, okay, restrain the automatic and archaic responses of parent and child. The third one is pause, give time to the adult to come through. Definitely something good. The fourth one is question your parent and child data. Ask yourself if your old data is true and if there are appropriate responses and if they are serving you well. The very process of questioning is the adult in action. I think the third one is definitely one of the most important ones to actually, okay, it could be because I just understand it, but never mind. But because if you do just ask yourself, could this be true? Could this be true? Or could this be the thing? Or could this be a good move? Or could I have been a little bit too angry, or could I have been a little bit too nice even, or whatever? Just thinking about it a little bit more, and actually, yeah, waiting for the adult to come through. Yeah. So I just see when your parent or child has been hooked. Okay, if you just think about it like the child is like, I'm not okay because everybody else is okay, because I don't know shit and everybody else knows shit. What could therefore be a good example? Is it just, again, seeking approval? I think just being like, I don't know, just being so unsure of everything you do, just asking for everything you're doing. I don't know, it's pretty tough, man. It's really tough, this text. So the more we get to know the content of our parent and child, the more we can separate them from our adult, which makes sense. And the more we separate the three, the more we develop and strengthen our adult, and we free ourselves up. Okay, strengthen our adult and we free ourselves up. Thomas Harris says that this is the home remedy of sorting ourselves out, or yourself out. And the last step is, once you learn to sort yourself out, is to do this. Learn to see the pack in others. Yeah, that's definitely, and this is also some kind of learning curve type of thing. If you just, you start by knowing nothing, then you just know something, then you get a master, and then you teach it. And this is just the equivalent of it. If you just, you didn't know shit like I am now doing because I do not understand it properly, now maybe I'm knowing a little bit. I know a little bit. I do still just have to be a master, and then I look for other persons and just maybe even try to help them and just, explain it to them, actually. So, that's the equivalent of increasing your emotional intelligence, and it's what George Thompson in Verbal Judo refers to when he says that the biggest skill of learning verbal judo is not to react to the emotional communication of others. Definitely, because if when somebody is angry, you don't have to be angry as well, or somebody is pissing you off, you don't have to piss him off as well. It's totally true. But with this actually being said, I do think I'm gonna stop this episode and gonna eat something. I think even just do have to use the time until my colleague comes over, and yeah. But I'm still pretty proud that I've been able to pull that one off here. That I've been able to just do everything, and everything is working out quite well. And this is always a good thing. With that being said, I hope you have success, wealth, health, happiness. I hope you're giving back a lot, because at my point of view, you should definitely be, giving back something of your happiness and of your success and all these things. And, it would be an incredible feeling if you were the only one person who just, put somebody on. So yeah, I also wish you a great legacy. And with that being said, goodbye. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and I see you.